Yeah.
Van Glorious Vanguard.
Knowledge born.
Yeah.
United Front.
Tell it.
What you want.
To the Knowledge Radio.
We in here. What you got? Dot.
Work hard as a slave to one day be your savior. The wave unwavering. This is a labor of love. Rise with a purpose every day. Invigorated. If we were on TV, we'd be 10 times syndicated. If we waited for validation, a paycheck or accolades, we'd be starved, already lost or ran away. But when you're square solid and you circle too, you don't need a place for silence. The concept is conquered through media, not areas of people activity. A mix that don't lose ethnicity, tightness that don't lose elasticity. Explicitly, this isn't where we give the novice regard. Nah, this is where knowledge is born. Last time that I checked, I'm undefeated. Deliver edicts, can't resist when the gods build and manifest freedom. When lines get crossed, they may push a loss, cause they get handed a check. We kick a can and cancel your cancerous gestures. A prophet vision, precision, the prescription for the sickness is to inoculate your fate with the winning. Arrogant beginnings turn to humble endings. And US with KBA is a win-win. 1K.
Peace, Black Power friend. Welcome to another episode of Knowledge Radio, place where knowledge is born. This is your host, Knowledge Born Allah, and the gods have smiled on us today. We got the definition of hard work. We got the definition of transformation. We got the definition of many faces in one name, all embodied in one man who had not let anything in life stop him in the pursuit of his goals, his visions, and he's here to share some life-changing information with us, and we're celebrating him today. You understand? So this is Mr. Patrick Day. So it becomes my honor and privilege at this time to introduce some, present to others, the creative genius mind of Mr. Patrick Faucette in the picture.
Thank you, my brother. I appreciate it.
Here.
Nice to be here.
Wonderful. So for the people who may have seen you and they looking at the screen now and be like, he looked familiar. I seen him something. Like where do I know? It's like a moment to introduce yourself to the family and let's get into some things.
I'm Patrick Faucette. A lot of people know me as Tony Watson from The Haves and the Have-Nots. And coming at you from Los Angeles.
I'm talking about. So if you were to reflect now, lessons learned in life as a man, coming up where we come from, because yes, ladies and gentlemen, he's from New Jersey. Okay, it's Jersey, right? You understand? It's a Jersey situation going on.
Jersey in the house.
Right, coming from where we come from, looking back on your life, what are some of, if you had to pick 3 life lessons that you learned as a man coming up, what would they be?
Number one is to work hard, because I learned that from my dad coming up in Jersey. He was working in the steel mill over in Pennsylvania. Every day, 12 to 8, 8 to 4, 4 to 12. That was a hard working brother, so that was life lesson number 1, is work hard. And, never give up. That's life lesson number 2, stay in the game and never give up. And number 3 is just to give back to the community, try to bring up somebody behind you. Keep them going.
So you started off here, you started off one way. I believe the passion was for football. And then you went from football to physical therapy to where you are now. So each story has its own life. It's like you live 3 lives in one life. And then with this profession that you're in now, you get to become someone else every time we see you, So how has that journey been for you, and what were those transitions like in between from, dead set in one role, going into another role, and then going into this particular role right here?
Well, my first love for football when I was in high school, playing football, uh, I ended up getting a football scholarship to Boston University, and I was playing. I loved the game. I was all conference, and once I got leading tackler, once I was a senior, I didn't get drafted. So my brother, he was a big football player as well. Played for the Chargers, played for the Giants, and so I was trying to follow in those footsteps, but I didn't get drafted. I tried to walk on, had some tryouts with a couple of teams, didn't get picked up. Then I had a chance to go play in Europe for the World Football League at that time, but they weren't paying very much for the risk versus reward to take take a beating to my body to get paid so little, and to go over to Europe. I was like, nah. And while I was in college, I majored in physical therapy, so I ended up going back, getting my license, and giving up on my physical therapy my football dreams, and started working as a physical therapist up in San Francisco. So when I was in San Francisco, though, I was living with these 4 girls that I went to school with back in Boston, and they were all actresses. So I used to go see them perform in their plays, and they used to do a lot of theater up in San Francisco. And one time somebody dropped out of one of their plays and they needed someone to replace them. They came to me, asking me to come, can I do this? So, it seemed like a challenge. So I went, learned the part, did the play, and then that's where that theatricalness was born, the actor in me. So then, I started to study, take classes in San Francisco, then ended up doing more theater, doing a lot of plays, getting an agent, started working in San Francisco, doing commercials and little shows and modeling, and then decide to try to go to the big leagues down here in LA. And the rest is history, as they say.
Well, that's got to be an amazing, abridged version of the actual story. So, like,
yeah, no, it's a complicated story. With big disappointments, not playing football, physical therapy transition to being able to let it all go from a good job, making all this money in San Francisco, working physical therapy, to quit my job and drive down to LA and move in with one of my boys and start a whole new career. So, it was.
How did you cope with those particular transitions from one thing to another? Just, you looking at it like, okay, you got your heart set here, and then this doesn't happen, right? So you go back to the plan B. So you're in the plan B situation, and in that plan B process, there's a part like, okay, I was wise enough not to go and just forget it, put all my chips in over here, and I could have got myself seriously hurt for something that was experimental at the time. Football
Right.
in Europe is what we call soccer. Rugby, soccer, that's a real thing that's a real life over there. You see what I'm saying? And then, moving, in that, particular place, it could have been something that was very detrimental. But on this other side, you're helping people rehab. You're bringing them back from a particular injury from a particular, situation physically and helping them. You see what I'm saying? So you're on this
Right.
other side right here in San Francisco, where you could have been the 49er that had to go see somebody like you to get themselves, together, right?
Mhm.
And you're in this experience right here. And in this experience, they're asking you as a favor to become someone else for a moment. Right? Like, hey,
Right.
we need your help, Patrick. Save the day for us. You understand what I'm saying? So you go in there, and what is it about this experience that, what kind of experience did you have to where you like, oh, this is something I'm interested in, for you to,
Mm.
dedicate and discipline yourself to learn another study or another skill, and then go from there to pursuing it full time, not looking back. What was that like?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's a thrill of excitement when you step foot on that stage in front of an audience,
Mhm.
and that adrenaline rush, overcoming those nerves to step out in front of that crowd and not forget your lines and show and tell that story through that character was a thrilling thing to me. And then that rush, you like, oh wow, I can do this. This is serious. I feel this. So, and then I started pursuing that feeling to get up there and tell stories, to be different characters, and to like try to make the audience feel something. And when they feel something, they let you know. Especially live audiences, they'll let you know they're feeling it, they're loving it. They're you're touching them. They're hard. They're laughing when it's funny. They're feeling the emotion when it's emotional. And to be able to do that and have them feel what you're trying to have them feel is rewarding. And it's as rewarding as helping somebody rehab and get better after an injury. You know.
Definitely. So now, even a part I think I left out, you were in the audience cheering on your friends, and you went from the audience to a participant.
Mm.
What was that like?
I mean, when you're in the audience, you don't understand what these people on the stage are going through. I mean, they're just telling the story, and you're feeling what they're giving you. But to reverse it and to get on the stage was a whole nother thing, and it was, it's pretty nerve wracking to get out there in front of all those people. So that was a thrill, from overcoming those nerves to step out, and now you're not an audience. Now you're up on the stage, making an audience feel what you were feeling out there watching. So it's a pretty interesting thing.
Definitely. Definitely. I'm just imagining. I remember I was a young boy reading Shakespeare in class and hating it, and and going to see Black Macbeth
Oh,
in the
see.
theater. And
Yeah.
I said, holy shit. This right here. You see what I'm saying? Seeing black people on the stage doing this that everybody swears by, as a thespian, da, 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 da. Seeing black people on the stage with all of that talent, like I was electrified seeing it. You see what I'm saying?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
Black Macbeth, Black Romeo and Juliet, Black Othello, even though, it was rumored that his character, Othello, was black. You see what I'm saying? Like seeing that, it was electrifying as a young man with that imagery and that portrayal. I was young, they had us in school plays and stuff, and for our parents' entertainment, you always had to do something.
Right.
Hey, boy, do that dance you was doing last week. The funny one you were doing. Look, my boy about to do that dance, y'all. You see what I'm saying? So that is
Mm.
not nothing, new. It's succinct to our existence, but then actually doing it on the stage as a professional. You know, this shift to something that you tried out, to something that you went full on, and now how are you navigating in the industry? Initially.
Yeah. Well, initially, acting is a tough business. You come down here to LA, you got to start from scratch, getting agents and meeting people and going to auditions, meeting the casting directors. And so you got a lot of doors closing in your face, for years. I mean, you still, even at my level, you still, you still auditioning, you still getting turned down. So, but that transition is pretty tough because you got to have a pretty thick skin, because you're not going to get a lot of you're going to audition a lot more than you're going to perform and get paid and be on stage. So it is a tough transition. But you stick with it. You stick with it and you don't give up. And then things start to come and you start to meet people and you start to learn more and get better at the auditioning game and start better at your networking game. And then if you're not performing as much as you want, go do some plays, go do some theater and get up there on stage to get those acting muscles working and those juices flowing, like, so you can remember what that feeling was like and what the reason you're doing this is, not just to audition and run around town and try to talk to people and schmooze. It's to get up there and do some acting and tell those stories. So sometimes you got to do that too. You got to get up there and do some of those little theaters and do some plays, do some little independent films, shoot some stuff with your friends, just so you can work it and do what you love to do. You know what I'm saying?
Right, I understand. Understand. So I'm really, painting this picture because this is, a conversation in regards to maintaining longevity. So now, throughout your career, some of the things you mentioned, you know, kept, the muscles working, kept you, out of your own head, because you can look at yourself a certain kind of way. But if you're going through rejection after rejection after rejection after rejection after rejection, and you're not a salesperson, you see what I'm saying? Like, you can get fixed. Like, you start looking at yourself a certain kind of way. You see what I'm saying? Like, in
Right.
sales, you deal with it. You know, you get used to, you'll take 20 no's for one yes. So you're hardwired to it. It's day in, day out, day in, day out, day in, day out. And you have a
Mm.
circle of people in your group that are going through the same experiences. So y'all are relating experiences to each other in a way where you see yourself in everybody and everybody sees themselves in you, because this is, you know, your niche. This is your a space that you carved out. But if you're going at this journey alone, you're around a bunch of actors and you're in a competitive, market. They only got a couple spots for a couple of people.
Right.
So you're there and you have to do what everybody else did, which was audition, but it had to be something in you for the yes, or somebody you knew for the yes versus somebody else. you know,
Right.
there's instances with that. So this transition from one spot to another, I'm asking about, longevity, like keys for you that you found that helped you uh, go this long and in this fashion, for someone who's aspiring, who might want to come in, some youth that may watch, or some elders that may watch, because we don't have an age on coming
Right.
into this particular field.
Right.
So it used to be young, but as we saw with Black Panther, the elder sister who got the role of the elder, you know, she was in her 80s, I believe,
Hmm.
and she got that role. So, you
Yeah.
know, uh, what are some things, looking back in hindsight, that you would, offer for them as some advice?
Yeah, like I said before, to stay in the game, longevity, because when you get all those no's, I mean, in this business, you feel like it feels personal. Like, oh,
Right.
you didn't like my acting, you didn't like the way I looked, you didn't like me. So, but you can't take it personal. You gotta take it. It's a business, and maybe this person was in that show, and that's why they put him in this show, because he already did well with that show, did well, so they're not looking for somebody new. So they want to go with somebody already established. Or, this guy his uncle is the director or the producer. You don't know all that stuff that's behind the scenes. So you can't take it personal. And that helps keeping you in the game, keep your head clear. And then it's, like I said before, doing reminding yourself the reason you got in this business is to do some acting. So if you're not getting paid to act for free a little bit, or do some plays. You can get paid, but you're not making the big money, but you're doing what you love. Get up there on stage and get that feeling, that reminder why you do it. And then the other thing is to keep keep learning. Keep learning. Don't think you know it all. Keep learning. Go keep taking acting classes. I just took a class on networking, because that might be my little weak link. I don't get out there and schmooze as much as I should. So I took a class. You can take classes in anything. You took a class in networking, how to deal in the business, how to follow up with people, and get that, keep your circle of friends and stay in contact with the people you work with and the people you act with, the people that you were in class with, because all those people are coming up. So you want to go up with them. So that's why you got to do your networking, got to stay in touch to, be of service to people, and they'll be of service to you.
Great.
Yeah.
If they say your network is your net worth.
Your network is your net worth. That's right. That was the name of that class. Oh, I think I lost you. I think I lost him. I lost the host with some technical difficulties. I don't know if that's me or not. Oh,
All right. What about now? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Was that me or that was you? My connection's bad
No,
or
that was
what?
me.
Oh, where?
No,
Okay.
that was on my end. I got booted out a couple of times. Yeah. Name of the game with technology.
That's it now. Shoot. All our auditions are self-tapes. Do it, self-tape, send it in. They see it, come back and do a Zoom audition with the directors and the producers all in Zoom. It's a whole new world now.
Really?
Yeah. Crazy.
That's interesting. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, this is my new studio. Now my daughter moved out. I turned her room into my studio where I just do my auditions, got my tripod, got some lights, and do the auditions, send them in, and then if they like you, want to bring you back for a callback. Usually the callbacks are on like Zoom or some other like Google thing or Blue Jeans. There's a couple of different ones. And then you meet with the director, the producer, got a couple of actors, and you read it again and the callback. And that's how the business is now.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So with pandemic, how did everything? How were you able to fare during the pandemic? How adaptable had you had to become in order to, still continue with your art and your craft?
Well, I mean, during the pandemic, it wasn't at the very beginning, everything was shut down. So there wasn't much to do but take some online classes. I was taking classes, acting classes online. I took some writing classes, script writing. I took that class, Your Network is Your Net Worth. I took that class and with Richard Lawson. He's awesome. And yeah, it was a lot of online classes working on my stuff. And then they had you shooting stuff like on your own. And then I had a couple friends that I meet with every week. Well, we used to meet every week, a bunch of actors, and shoot stuff, work on your auditions, do some improv stuff. And we would meet on Zoom and read scripts, do auditions, do like stuff just to stay warm, keep practicing. So yeah, I just kept busy until all of a sudden the auditions started trickling back in. And now it seems like maybe because of the technology that everyone's shooting their own auditions, that we're auditioning a lot. It's like we're auditioning for, maybe they can see more people that way. So instead of people coming into the office, they shoot their own stuff. So I've been auditioning for a lot of stuff, which is beautiful.
Good news. That's good news. So I got to ask the question that's looming out here. How did you link up What Boss Man? How did you link up with Tyler Perry? How was that experience?
Oh, that was amazing. It happened. It was like a last minute audition. My agent sent me an audition for the Have and Have Nots to play one of Hannah's love interests from her church. So the audition was last minute. Got it in the morning for afternoon audition. So I was studying, and then something about that character kind of clicked with me. I could feel, where that character was coming from. And boom, went in. I was reading for Kim Coleman. She was the casting director out here in LA. And went in there, and it just I just did what I wanted to do in the room. Because a lot of times, you rehearsing it, and you're doing all these things that you want to do, and then you get in the room, and it just don't come out the way you wanted it to. But this character, when I got in there, I did everything. I hit all the notes. I hit all the beats that I wanted to hit, and I felt real good about the audition. And boom, left out of there. Later on that evening, got a call. It was a Friday. They were going to fly me out on Tuesday to Atlanta to shoot it. I was like, damn, no call back, nothing, just booked it. And then flew out there to Atlanta and got on the set with the big man. And it was that dude he's the real deal. Like, he's like the maestro. Knows exactly what he wants from beginning to end, from shooting angles to where he wants you to the blocking. His mind is like 10 steps ahead of everybody else, which is kind of amazing. When you're around somebody like that, you
I
really
think that's
step
the
up
fourth
your game.
time I heard that.
Really? Man. When I came in there, first time I came in there, I sat down. He was like, okay, sit down on the couch. And he's like, all right, let me hear your lines. And I ran the lines. It was a scene with me, Benny, and Hannah, Benny's mom. We ran the lines, and he's looking, listening, and he's like, okay, you're going to come in from there. You're going to go in there. You're going to sit down. When you say that, you're going to come over there. I want this shot over here. I want you to come in through there. Then we're going to go from, they got you with the close up, and you're going to come in here, and then you're going to come in there. And I'm like, what? I was like, oh, damn, okay. Hold up. One more time. So you got to come with some stepping up game when you get in there with him. But yeah, so then after I shot that first scene, I guess apparently they wanted to cast somebody to play Benny's dad. So originally I was only supposed to be there for 1 or 2 episodes. But after we shot the first scene, then we had when Benny was leaving, the very first episode that I was in, Benny is setting up a blind date for his mom with me from the church, and I'm in there making dinner for her. So when they laughing about him setting her up with me for the blind date, and he's gonna leave us alone. And so then when he leaves the room, Tyler Perry stopped the shooting and said, when he leaves the room, I want you to say, does he know? Wants Hannah to say to me, does he know? And then I say, he has no clue. Like, does he know I'm your father? I'm his father. And I say, no, he has no clue. And I was like, oh, snap, because that wasn't in the script. He was just adding that. And I'm like, so we gonna go there? And he was like, if we gonna do it, let's do it. And I was like, oh, snap. So I was like, okay, so I'm playing this dude's dad. I'm in this show now. And then after that, we sat down and rewrote the whole next scene, which was just a thrill to be sitting down with Tyler Perry writing the next scene of how it was going to go now that he's making me his dad. So we rewrote the whole scene with me and her at dinner, and then after that, the producers came to me and was like, "What's your availability next week?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm available. Don't worry, I'm available." I
Right.
flew back to LA. Then bam, came back to Atlanta a week later and was there for like a month or so shooting. So it was unbelievable. That was that first season, and then after that, it was on. Got a whole bunch of scripts in the
Beautiful.
mail for
That's beautiful.
season 2.
Like
What do you say?
I said, that was beautiful. I was gonna wait until you were done. Y'all have an amazing on-screen chemistry. You know, like
Oh yeah,
what I saw uh, with you on the camera with them. Like it looked like y'all made it look and feel like a family. You see what I'm saying? Like I I
right.
know somebody probably said it to you. You look like his father. Like you really look like Benny's father. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
so the
no, I heard
kind
that a
of
lot.
like like some kind of way, God had a plan to make y'all in the same scene together and have this relationship that looks and feels real all the way down to how y'all look. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like that's a powerful tool right there. And to have that and that likeness when I saw y'all together, like, you know, uh Hannah's character is like overpowering, and this is like a woman of God, blah 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 blah. You see what I'm saying right there? You got Benny, he's trying to find his way, and you rooting for him.
right.
And you come in, everybody has an angle. Like there's nobody that's not there that's involved in this whole process that don't got an angle some kind of way. Like it's a beautiful thing to watch. You see what I'm saying? Like this art imitating life and life imitating art at the same time. So I just see the brilliance of the whole thing, kind of coming together, and what you explaining this kind of mind, you know, that Mr. Perry has in regards to that, like boom, boom. I was like, this was amazing. And to
Mm,
see you in that element, to see that space right there, I'm like, oh yeah, this is on point.
yeah. And the amazing thing about him is he could see that probably right when I was doing that first scene. He already saw it
Mhm.
and was like, "Okay, I know exactly where this is going to go," and changed it up, and bam, made a whole different thing.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So did that particular role, would you say, did it open up some other doors for you to do some other work, other places where people
Yeah,
were
no,
talking
definitely.
about that, or how
Yeah.
how did that work out?
Yeah, no, it definitely opened up some doors. With that on my resume, it was easier to get in the rooms with different casting people for different shows. I had uh, actually got a couple of parts where I didn't have to audition. I did a movie that came back and did it in Atlanta, where I didn't have to audition because they liked that character and felt that my acting worked, for the character in their production. So I mean, it did open a lot of doors for me, which was nice.
That's a beautiful thing right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would you say is next for you, or if you could pick a dream role or some dream people to work with, whether it's directors, whether it's actors, actresses, your wish list, what would that be?
Well, to work with Denzel would always be a dream of mine because that's who I kind of imagine my career modeling after. That's the the pedestal up there that I'm shooting for. That's in my goals to be like him. Like when he he did Saint Elsewhere, like a TV show, you know, and was knocking it out on TV, and then boom, started doing movies and movies, and then became blockbusters and action movies and just incredible acting and recreating people from history. Just that example is, you know, it has driven me to be better, and I would love to have a chance to work with him. You know, that's one of my dreams. And now with Regina directing, I love to let her direct me in something. And I love to do an action movie, would be exciting as well.
Regina had a heck of a debut.
Yeah. Yeah,
to go from 227 to what this is, you know, like One Night in Miami, all the way from 227. You know, that's a heck of a trek. You know,
she's come a long way.
Right.
And just beginning.
That's a beautiful thing right there. I had the opportunity to speak with Bill Duke, and he said he didn't like the word acting. He liked the word becoming. You know, he said you go into the role, you become what whomever this is, you know, and this is how I introduced you as the man with many faces and one name. You know, you are who you are, but we see you, you know, manifest in these particular roles, whether it was TV, whether, you know, wherever it was, the movies, all of it, you know, you become whatever character. You know, for a long time, Denzel was Malcolm. You know, he wasn't Denzel anymore. You know, he became Malcolm for that role. Like and that was it. Like you're like, oh, you know, we had to see him in Training Day to see him out of Malcolm mode, because every other film he was Malcolm. You know, he wasn't Denzel anymore. He was Malcolm. Like so he had to become Alonzo, so we remember. Like, right, yeah. Oh man, so. Have you had that moment yet, or whether it was, you know, on the stage as a play or as an actor, where people are calling you, you know, the person that they saw you, you know, on the screen or on the stage? Like, are you forever that person? Like, you know, for instance, like Pam from Martin is Pam still to this day. Like people are still calling her Pam. You know, like, yeah, you know, that's Pam.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, when I was doing the Have and Have Nots, boy, people. I mean, because after that second season, when I was the bad guy trying to pull that plug,
right,
man, I get a slap upside the head once in a while. You know, if you was a black woman from like 50 to 75, you knew exactly who I was, and they'd be like, "Oh, I'm mad at you, boy. How could you do that to your own son?" For a long time, I couldn't go to the grocery store without hearing that.
Really?
So, yeah, that Tony Watson.
So you became Tariq from Power then. This is what you're saying. Like you became Tariq from Power, because they was on that young man. That young man, I was like, man, that brother got a real tough time, you know. And when I knew it was that good, I said, he has to become the hero now. He was the villain for the whole time. Now he has to become the hero. So, you know, seeing that tide turn from, you know, the little kid to, you know, the little kid who needed his behind whooped to, you know, now he's, you know, he's the savior now. You see what I'm saying? Like he walks in his father's footsteps, and he understands what his father was trying to tell him now, because he has the brunt of the responsibility, not just the recipient. Like he's the one that has to go. So just even that, you know, tide turning, you know, for him as an actor, you know, and seeing that. So I you know, I had to ask, because, you know, I was wondering, you know, what kind of flack you were getting. Like, how could you want to take his kidneys and like people really get into those things? I'm like, oh, this is crazy right there.
Yeah, well, even my mom. My mom was calling me.
Wow.
And was like, why would you do that to your son? I'm like, Mom, that ain't my son. I know,
Mom?
but you're not like that. Tell
I
Tyler
raised you
Perry you're
better
not
than
like that.
Oh man, that's amazing.
Yeah, so I knew I was doing a good job when people was mad, boy. And they was mad. I said, all right.
That's an interesting parallel right there. You had the Tariq moment. That's the thing now, I guess, for me. You had a Tariq moment.
All right. When they
Oh,
just
man.
mad at you.
Right. I think they had a hashtag saying that this dude must die or something. I'm like, man, this is a kid you talking about. You talking about somebody's son. Like,
Good. Oh, I had some, man, when we used to tweet with the shows back, I think it was season 2 or season 3, and the fans would be tweeting how they hated me, and that one lady said, I hope you die and your kidney burns in hell. I said, damn, tell me how you really feel. Yeah. Well, it was funny.
That got to be a different kind of adrenaline rush right there. The social media stage right there. Not just
Yeah.
the regular stage or the silver screen. The social media stage, like the greatest. What did they say in the Tale of Two Cities? It was the best of times and the worst of times. That's social media stage right there.
That's right. The greatest invention and the worst
Yeah.
invention. Yeah.
Right. So what's next for you that you can share? What's something you got coming up that you can tell us about?
Well, I was shooting this weekend. I shot an episode of Good Girls
Mm-hmm.
about these 4 girls who ended up becoming kind of gangster and doing all kind of illegal
Right.
stuff. And I just shot an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm,
Wait.
which was
Wait. Good Girls with the big black girl and the other girl that's the sister, and then that. Oh.
the big black girl. They got the gang dude with the
I'm watching
tattoo
that
on his
show.
neck.
That's crazy.
Huh?
That. Yeah. They doing the money laundering stuff. They was cleaning the counterfeit money, blah blah blah. Yeah.
Now they're doing the counterfeit money now.
Oh snap!
So yeah, I did an episode of that.
Yeah.
Can't really tell the plot, but there's some fun. There's some fun girls to work with, and that I did an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm, which is an interesting show because a lot of it is improv. It's they give you kind of a loose script and you just kind of run with it with your character, which is fun. And I did a digital show that I'm waiting to come out. That was really hot, called Forbidden Fruit, where I play a preacher with a past. And it's that was some of the funnest serious acting I've done, in a long time. It was some real deep, from being a preacher to having this past, and it's a trip. I can't really give the thing away, but it was fun shooting, and it's going to be really good. I'm excited to see what happens to it. Even though it was like digital, it was like 8 to 10 short episodes, but it's great writing and some great acting. So we'll see what happens to it. Yeah. Oh, when I was in New York, I shot a
Definitely want to
movie
check it
called
out.
The Vagrant in New York. But I wasn't the
Mm.
lead in it, but it was an interesting story about this guy who loses his family and becomes homeless, and then his journey back to back to society. It was an interesting movie. Yeah. And it was fun to come home because my mom lives upstate New York. So I came, shot in New York for a week or so, and then I went up to Schenectady, saw my mom's, my sister, which was cool.
Nice surprise. Surprise,
Yeah,
Mom. Where
yeah.
the chicken at?
What's cooking? Yeah.
That's wonderful. I'm excited for you. I'm excited for all your success. You know, you're one that I seen that sees, the opportunities when they come and make the most out of them. And I'm excited for you to see more and do more, and then look over and see you with Denzel. You know what I'm saying? Up in there, that Regina King is directing. Hint, hint.
Yeah.
Put y'all all together in one movie. Get
That's
it
right.
going.
God willing.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you want to leave the world? What do you want your, you know, legacy to be? Family, for people to take away from your life, and who you were on the planet.
Well, I mean, in the professional life, I want my peers and other actors to remember me as somebody whose body of work was recognizable, and noteworthy. And from my fellow actors, for that they recognize me as a good actor, and that my body of work said something. And then just as a regular father, husband, a good father, good husband, who worked hard. That's how I want to be remembered. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yes, sir.
Final thoughts, but before you go, I'm very thankful of your time, and definitely would love to have you back on, sometime, and discuss some of these roles I get a chance to see you in. Pick your brain a
Mm.
little bit. So, and also where people can find you, and people that are looking that might want to book you for, something got going on. How do they do that?
Well, I'm on all the social media, on Twitter, Instagram at Patrick Faucette, Facebook at Patrick Faucette. I'm with the Littman Talent Agency out here in LA. My manager is Eileen O'Farrell Management. So if they want to find me, I'm easy to find.
Well, I definitely thank you for your time, and look forward to the gifts you continue to bring here in the future.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's been my pleasure.
All right. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
All right. Knowledge born out loud. Thank you, my brother.
All right. Peace.
All right.
All right, family. That was the great Patrick Faucette, man. Looking forward to nothing but greatness from our brother. Let's continue to cheer him on and root for him. If you like what you heard, subscribe to the show here, www.youtube.com/. Blue Knowledge Radio. That's DOTHAKNOWLEDGERADIO. Check us out on our hub sites, www.doknowledgeradio.com and www.dtkenpoweru.com. So subscribe, share, comment, donate. We got a lot of things going on in the community. We definitely could use your help. Hit us via Cash App, $, Knowledge Born Alive, or PayPal.me/Do Knowledge Radio. And if you are here and want your voice to be heard, talent, skills, and abilities that are beneficial to our people, email me at doknowledgeradio@gmail.com for your pay interview slot. Or if you want to start your own series here, you can do that also. Follow us on Instagram, both of our pages, at Do Knowledge Radio and at Knowledge Born Alive 357. So for now, we out. Peace.
Yeah. Now we gonna tell them. Night in front. We tell them like this, yo. I'm an African. I'm a African. I'm an African. I'm a African. Yeah, y'all like that? So no more. This man's mind is open. I'm an African. I'm a African. I'm an African. I'm a. Let's get back to the
motive is best developed by recognizing the common enemy.